do I have to press? Good afternoon, everyone. This is the Sustainability Commission meeting for September 25th for the City of India. My name is Anitha Lulu. I am the chair for the commission, and I am calling this meeting to order. We have 3 commissioners here today, including myself, which means we have a quorum. Our commission secretary is Ms. Sarah Toyota, and she was with the staff of India. Sarah, can you please do a roll call, please?
Chair Lou.
Here.
Vice Chair Chris.
Present.
Commissioner Vasquez. Absent. Commissioner Gedka.
Present.
Okay. Thank you. At this time, we will do the Pledge of Allegiance. So if you would join me in standing facing the flag and restating the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Alrighty. Tonight our order is changed just a little bit, I think. We have a time now for public comment for any items that are not on the agenda. Each public comment is limited to 3 minutes. That allows anyone from the community.
Give me 1 minute. There are no public comments.
Okay, great. So that takes us to agenda item number 4. This afternoon we have Ms. Deborah McGarry here. She is the Public Affairs Manager for SoCal Gas, and she's here to provide us with a presentation. Welcome, Deborah.
Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Thank you so much for having me. My name again is Deborah McGarry. I'm the Public Affairs Manager of the Southern California Gas Company. I cover from just west of Palm Springs, which is in Whitewater, all the way to Blythe, Yucca Valley, Joyner Palms, and all of Imperial County for SoCal Gas.
Thank you. I didn't know it was on. And I just wanted to come in tonight to give you an update on some of the stuff that's happening with SoCal Gas. I apologize because the slide is in the wrong position. So just to give you a little bit about where SoCal Gas is going with our history with regards to sustainability and climate commitment to net zero. Net zero means that we would have then a net zero emissions by 2045. So that kind of gives you a little bit of information. Let's see here. So, apologize, I have to do 2 of these because this is not hooked up to my computer. I apologize. There we go. So this is to kind of give you a little bit about who we are. So SoCal Gas, we work hard to basically protect our infrastructure. We're an established business. We're the largest natural gas distributor in the United States, an active part of the community and for over 150 years, and we plan to be for the next 150 years. We serve 12 counties and more than 22 million people. We employ more than 8,000 Californians, and we service a territory from Visalia down to the Mexican border. You could see there in the picture where it says SoCal Gas, that's our service territory. So just to give you a little bit about me, I've been with SoCal Gas for over 14 years. I've been a resident of the Coachella Valley since '88. I've served on various boards throughout the community, which is Fine Food Bank, CVEP, Desert Valley Builders, Desert Cancer Foundation, Friends of the Desert Mountains. I enjoy cooking, art, and love beautiful desert a lot. Okay, so California has a big ambition in regards to clean air, goals that are going to be challenging, as we're already experiencing, and complex. So as we all know, the SB 100 requires 60% of renewable energy by 2030 and 100% carbon-free energy by 2045. Electrification combined with clean fuels, carbon management, technologies like fuel cells can deliver the most affordability, resilience, and technology-proven path to a full carbon neutral program. Electrification and clean gases we're not competitors. We actually can work well together. So our commitment is that SoCalGas, we live by 3 values: do the right thing, champion people, and shape the future. These values permeate through the company. Our guide is how we think, we drive our actions. As one of America's largest energy providers, our values are the lens through which we see every opportunity and challenges. With our values, we provide a strong foundation. Our mission statement presents an action for framework with purpose and intent. At SoCalGas, we're dedicated to leading a transition to decarbonizing energy systems. We believe every Californian deserves a clean, affordable, resilient energy future. SoCalGas is working to achieve these goals through innovation, collaboration, and decarbonization. Now, I'm just going to go off script for just a second, but I wanted to show you this house. It doesn't look just like this. I will show it to you, send a picture of it so you can look at it. But one of the goals that we had was to build what was called the first hydrogen house. This is a house that runs on a combination of fuel cell, solar, hydrogen, and is completely net zero. The house doesn't look just like this. It's actually flat. It's 2-story. It is a full-size functional house. It has 2 bedrooms, actually could be a 3-bedroom, and has cooking appliances, just like the appliances that you would use in your house. It has a gas stove, has water heaters, everything, but it is 100% net zero. Now what we've done is that how you do this hydrogen, and again, at this point, this was an idea. We've actually accomplished this. This is now in place in our facility in Downey. But the benefit of having this hydrogen house is that it works off of fuel cells. The fuel cell then takes in its electrolyzer, splits the molecules with regards to natural gas, has a byproduct of water vapor, oxygen, and then we actually then use the hydrogen that goes, and it blends then with some natural gas to help to reduce the emissions, and then what you have is a very clean system that actually runs on hydrogen. And actually the gas stove actually uses a form of hydrogen blend. So it's something that we're focusing on doing for our future. SoCalGas will accelerate the clean fuels, and part of those, as I mentioned before, is going to be leveraging hydrogen. One of the projects that we're actually working on right now is in the LA Basin. It's called the Angeles Link. That will be a hydrogen, green hydrogen. So that means it's not using any natural gas. It's actually using water to go ahead and create hydrogen. And that hydrogen then would be used for large industries in Los Angeles that cannot use electric for its business, because electric can only provide so much power, where hydrogen could actually be transitioned and fill the position of natural gas, because it does have that power to do some of the industry type of work. By leveraging our gas infrastructure, some of the things that we're looking at is there a possibility in the future where we can actually look at doing a hydrogen blend inside our system? Again, we have a gas system throughout our entire service territory. That then would then provide then that service that they need to go ahead, and when the wind's not blowing, the sun's not shining, there's always that area that break. Batteries can still work, but there's still not at that technology to be able to go ahead and connect from that 7 or 8 o'clock at night when it goes dark to the next morning. Usually what happens is everybody goes back on the grid, And when you go back onto the grid, then you're using then, the natural gas system. If we're able to go ahead and make that system cleaner using more renewable natural gas, which we already have in our system, and also if there's a possibility of doing a hydrogen blend with that, which is part of the technology that we're doing right now, so that we can actually achieve these goals. And that's part of what we're trying to do for the 2045, because part of what we're looking at is not decarbonizing our pipeline, but kind of doing a methane capture. So we're doing that now as an example up in Paris, here in California, here in Riverside County, the city of Paris. They have CR&R Waste. CR&R Waste has taken their wet waste. As you know, we have the laws that have passed that you can't throw garbage and wet waste into the trash. It now needs to be separated out. But when that stuff starts to decompose, it creates methane. And if you're able to capture that methane, then you're taking it then out of, the atmosphere that would actually then add to those greenhouse gases. So if you're able to do a carbon capture, that's what they're doing up at Paris with CR&R. They have 4 anaerobic digesters. All of their wet waste goes into it. The methane gets cleaned, scrubbed, and then it gets used at their campus for the trucks, and then part of that actually gets injected into our gas system. So we are using their gas. Again, if you're able to go ahead and store that, that would also be another great way of being able to have a fuel that is actually pulling the methane then and decarbonizing our air. So the reliability and resilience is part of the key of energy. As we all know, there's always those challenges right now in regards to reliability. When the wind blows and the power gets shut off, or in the situations such as the storms that we just had, that's where you start to look at the reliability. So what is it that you need to be reliable? What is it that we need to have as a backup to make sure that when you need energy, you have it? So there isn't a problem like when you want to go ahead and use your cell phones, plug everything in, and then all of a sudden you're finding out that you don't have enough energy. It just seems that we're running into some of those challenges, which is part of what SoCalGas's plan is that to be more innovative, to be able to have and invest billions of dollars into our system so that we're able to provide that reliable, safe, and resilient system that would actually be able to go ahead and provide that backup to help to support everything that electricity needs to do for us. Oops, sorry. So gas emissions. So just to give you a little bit of information in regards to the net zero is being able to have, your SoCalGas operations is 4%, then you have your electric, your industry, your commercial, and residential. So this pie maybe has changed a little bit, not probably by much, but it kind of gives you an idea that one of the things that we're doing as SoCalGas operations is that, that 4% is based off of our system. What kind of emissions is our system giving off? So we've been working on making sure that that system we'll never probably get to a leak proof, but it will be as close to it as possibly can. And we're actually working on those programs right now. We have what's called a distribution integrity management program. And that program is going around and repairing anything within our system just to make sure that it is, there isn't any minor leaks, any type of problems, any type of challenges within our system. So that's our goal. So for renewable energy, again, SoCalGas supports the renewable energy process with solar. As a matter of fact, all of our buildings, we have solar on them. We focused on going with as much electric as we can, but using solar. We have made all of our facilities where there is no grass, and we use minimal water. We have also worked on making sure that we have our vehicles. We're still working on this, but part of what we want to do for our vehicles is to actually make them electric. So part of what we're doing right now is that we've ordered them. We haven't received them yet. And so we're hoping that eventually to have that in place. We're also been working with Sunline with regards to a demonstration hydrogen project where they were able to go ahead and create a hydrogen. So that's what we've been doing with regards to natural gas today. And then, of course, looking to the future is, what can we do to store renewable energy? Is there the possibility where you're actually using then the windmills to go ahead and to create that hydrogen and then be able to store it and use it when we need it? Or other types of energy. So, battery, backup, all those wonderful things I think that we're going to actually see in the next probably 10 to 15 years. So let's see, I think we have the video. These guys are going to show the video. This will actually probably cover it a little bit better for you. I don't know if it'll work. No, you have to do it. He'll key it up. It just kind of gives you a summary in our history of what we've done. And then I could get into the really good parts of your questions.
Is here. Centuries in the making that will advance the lives of millions of people. Welcome to the evolution of energy. California has set the goal to become carbon neutral by 2045. However, energy demand is estimated to double over the next 24 years, with the state's population growing to over 50 million residents. How do we solve this massive challenge? The solution is a combined blend of innovative technologies around new forms of renewable gases, solar, wind, fuel cells, and carbon capture. At SoCalGas, our mission is to be the cleanest, safest, and most innovative energy company in America. And we are committed to achieving net zero carbon emissions by 2045. The reality is, some of the technologies that will get us there haven't even been invented. But there are 4 innovative technologies that have us well on our way. Renewable gas, where waste streams are harnessed and reused to make power, becoming emissions negative. Power to gas, where excess renewable electricity is used to create renewable gas and hydrogen, which can be stored, transported, and utilized for decades. Hydrogen fuel cells, where people can reliably power their homes, businesses, and transportation with net zero emissions. And carbon capture, utilization, and sequestration, where carbon can be captured and utilized in new production processes for products of the future. After all, decarbonization isn't new for us. We've already reduced distribution emission rates to 0.25%, while continuing to serve our 22 million customers without sacrificing reliability, resiliency, or affordability. When California wanted to reduce pipeline emissions 20% by 2025, SoCalGas met the goal by 2021. In 2010, renewable gas wasn't even in use. By 2022, we will reach 5% capacity throughout our infrastructure, and 20% by 2030. On the journey to net zero, our mission is more than words. It's our ethos that guides every aspect of our business. What does clean look like? Clean is decarbonizing the gas grid. Clean is turning waste into energy. Clean is utilizing excess renewable energy. What does safe look like? Safe is the diversity of clean energy sources. Safe is industry-leading protocols. Safe is the diversity of thought and culture. What does innovation look like? Innovation is evolving into a tech-first infrastructure company. Innovation is expanding the potential of renewable energy. Innovation is leading the evolution of energy. Our commitment is to make the air we breathe and the neighborhoods we share cleaner, safer, and more innovative. Because our evolution is our legacy.
That's it. So I'm happy to answer any questions, but a lot of what you see, we are working on. I mean, like I said, we've already capturing renewable natural gas, putting it in our pipeline. We've already got a hydrogen house that we've been working on and trying to continue to move that forward with the state with regards to a hydrogen Angeles Link. We're continuously working on, the carbon capture. We've been doing that up in Central California with farm and ag and capturing the methane that comes from our ag industry and our farm animals, and actually using that and capturing it and cleaning it and injecting that methane back into our system. So we're doing a lot at this point throughout our service territory. So I'm happy to answer any questions you might have, because I'm sure you have 100 of them. Oh, and by the way, I did give you some information, some cut sheets about Aspire 45, also some information about our customer assistance in English and in Spanish. There's information in there about how to save money for our customers. Anything, you want to look for in regards to rebates, all of those are located on our website. They're easy enough to find. Whatever other information you think would be beneficial, I'm happy to work with you or to Sarah to help to get that information to your residents.
Great. That was a really inspiring presentation. So I will let the other commissioners go forward with their questions. Commissioner Getka, you want to
Yes,
start?
I have a few. I did attend and by Zoom a few of the meetings from Sacramento on some energy developments and programs that they're working on from the state level. But I was curious what your percent of hydrogen is produced using natural gas and the steam method versus electrolysis.
So right now, we are only generating hydrogen at our hydrogen house. And so that is using natural gas at this point for our demonstration. When we do the Angeles Link, that will be water. So it'll be all green hydrogen, because there's blue hydrogen, there's gray hydrogen, and then there's green hydrogen. Green hydrogen would come from water, which would be electrification or electrolysis. Right. The one that we're using in Downey is electrolysis also.
In the home, in the hydrogen home.
In the hydrogen home, it is.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, that facility actually is big enough to power up to 100 homes. Right now, it's just doing the one house.
And the good news is, apparently our governor announced a new strategy for hydrogen for the future. That was came out around August 8th. And have you heard anything more? They're working on 4 hydrogen hubs nationwide. There's one in Texas, one in Louisiana, but I don't know where the other 2 are going to be. Have you heard anything throughout
I have
here?
not heard anything about that specifically that SoCal Gas is actually involved in, other than what we're doing here locally. We have a hydrogen project that we're working with Sunline. We have the hydrogen house that's located in Downey, and then I'm sure there'll be some more that we'll be rolling out soon.
And then I came across something I didn't know about, which is called direct air capture. There's 2 methods, using solid filters and then liquid. Are you all employing that technology?
Are you talking about like a carbon capture?
Yes, carbon capture.
We do. We are working with demonstration projects for carbon capture. Keep in mind, anything that we have to do with regards to going into our pipeline and what we do, we have to get approval from the California Public Utilities Commission. And that's part of the reasoning why we're doing these various demonstration projects, so that we could have individuals come out, the subject matter experts, so that they're able to see the different types of projects that we're working on. So, I did not state that we're putting hydrogen in our gas lines. It's something that we're looking at for our future for 2045. What we're doing is we're doing demonstrations and actually using it, because it is still a fairly new technology.
I guess from my understanding is that's a challenge, is hydrogen is a small molecule and there's an issue with leakage versus natural gas. Are they going to have to reline the gas lines somehow? What are their plans on solving that?
Right now, what we're doing is that we continue to work on improving our gas lines for any type of leakage. With regards to the technology that we would have to do moving forward, I think that's part of the reasoning why we're actually doing, and I'm guessing, and I'll have to get probably back to you on this, on what we plan on doing for the future for our gas lines. Those are part of our goals for 2045. Again, we're aspiring to move in a direction that, no one else is doing. And as it was said in the video, some of the technologies that we're looking for, those technologies may not have even been developed as of yet. So I think there's a lot of opportunities there. And I don't want to go ahead and put something out there that SoCalGas isn't doing just yet.
And did you mention that you're converting your vehicles to electric and not hydrogen? Is it that
We are actually, one of the things that we've already started moving forward with, we just haven't received the vehicles. We made an announcement this past year that we were buying, like the regular vehicles, the cars and stuff that our operations use, we were actually going to go with electric. And the rest of our vehicles are natural gas.
It seems to make sense to use hydrogen in more commercial type vehicles, correct? Or not necessarily?
Here's the challenge with that. You need a fueling place.
Right.
You need a fueling location. And if you don't have fueling locations, you don't have any type of energy. It's no different than when they were doing natural gas, when natural gas kicked off. Until they had a place to actually fill up the vehicles, there's no way that you could actually use natural gas in the vehicles. Once they started seeing more infrastructure going in place, it made it easier to go ahead and put those vehicles in place. No different than the electric vehicles. We can go ahead and get all the electric vehicles that we want, but if we don't have enough charging stations and we can't get the electricity that we need to go ahead and charge those vehicles, how do you make that work? You can't put the egg, chicken before the egg type of process. It's like, I don't know which one comes first.
Commissioner Chris?
So those are really good questions, but I think probably in the next several years, we'll probably have answers to those.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Hi, Deborah.
How
Good
are
to see you
you,
again.
Pete? Good to see you.
I have one question that you actually led right up to. What is how does it line up like with the electric vehicles? I know the state is trying very hard to walk hand in hand with the charging stations along with the buying power of the electric vehicles. How is that walking forward with hydrogen?
So SoCalGas, so in regards to as examples, just having the infrastructure. Right now, the only fueling station that they have for hydrogen is out at Sunline. So, and if you remember correctly, the city of Indio did a dedication where they had a trolley that was working on hydrogen here. The only way they were able to get hydrogen was actually a portable container that was actually bringing hydrogen that Sunline was able to bring here that they were able to use to go ahead and fill it up. And I think they were doing it over at one of the city yards. And then in regards to the, I think there was another example I had. So example of that, when we started looking at what it would take to actually do hydrogen fueling stations, where that would go, how that would move forward. Again, having the infrastructure is the hardest part. So as an example, I believe South Coast Air Quality District has hydrogen vehicles. They don't have a place to fill them. And that's the biggest challenge that they have, is being able to have that infrastructure. So no different than having the technology, being able to use it, but having the stations to go ahead and provide that fuel is still where we're still working on it. So I mean, I'm sure that when that time comes, I'm sure we'll get to that point. We would probably love to go ahead and do that, but at this point, what we're looking at is is trying to just do electric, try to do as clean as we can, to help the state of California meet its goals. But we've been working with Sunline on a project that is taking quite a bit of time and has had some challenges, because again, it's a demonstration project, trying to demonstrate what technologies and how those technologies would work.
So just tagging on to that on the infrastructure part of this, I'm imagining that it's going to be a stepwise process, that we would first start with the portable cylinders, perhaps, and then have it delivered by...
That is all going to probably be based off of policy procedures, and probably someone at a much higher pay grade is going to be making those decisions with regards to how that's going to go. And I imagine that's probably going to come from the California Public Utilities Commission on how that would go. Because you have to have probably some type of approval from South Coast, from the county, and other folks on where it is that you're going to have it. Now, Sunland, like I said, does have the hydrogen buses. They're one of the only ones that actually do. And there's been some challenges, I think. So, we're just trying to, it's a new technology. It's a matter of being able to get that moving forward. I think that, we're hopeful that we'll be able to go ahead and move it forward. I can see if I could get you some additional information on where that's going.
I'll just keep watching.
Keep watching. So I think one of the things that I can probably help you with is our Angeles link, because that would actually be a pipeline that would actually contain hydrogen, which would be green hydrogen that would be in Los Angeles.
Okay.
That would be that's a stepping stone going in that direction that our company's working on. And we're working closely with the state policymakers on how that's going to work. Because again, you have particular types of industries that are not able to get the power that they need from electricity to make that happen. So that's the reason why we're focusing on this.
Got it. One thing I note, and that has always been a little bit troubling to me, is the reliability part of the renewable energy solution when we put it in place. As you know, all across the state, maybe other states are the same, but I guess I focus here, especially for us in the desert, when it gets into the triple-digit temperatures, and everybody's pulling load. And this year has been better. Maybe it's my imagination. We haven't had as many rolling blackouts or what have you. So the electric company has done relatively well. But my concern is when the regulations that are being put forth, the policies that are being put forth right now are calling for all electric appliances. And so my concern is that if we go that route and we get into the summer, we won't be even able to cook. We won't have any, there's no option A, B, or C. It's just option A.
And I think, to answer that question, some of the policies, and I can't speak on behalf of their policies, but what I can share with you as an example the governor has looked at is no different than what Commissioner Getka? Thank you. As Commissioner Getka mentioned, the governor did take a position about supporting hydrogen and moving forward with that. He also took a position knowing that there would be demands on the electricity and keeping Diablo Canyon open, which is up north, which it's a nuclear facility, and he's also looking at other types of technologies and other types of energy that's available that would actually continue to keep us balanced until we get to that point. And you can't just pull the plug on natural gas and say, okay, so figure it out. It isn't going to work that way. So I think, I think they're doing as much as they can to focus on, I believe, what they may be perceiving is easy, maybe, by moving forward with the cars. Our largest polluters, if you look at transportation, that is our largest pollution that we have right now is cars. So what can we do to make the cars cleaner? Looking at other types of technology just to go ahead and continue to reduce our greenhouse gases. Transportation has always been our biggest part of it, which is part of what you're seeing in the policies of California.
It would be good to see some of that written into, I guess this is me, I don't know if it's going to get written into AB 32. When I looked at that bill, I did not see a whole lot about, or I don't remember if I saw anything at all about green gas, about hydrogen fuel.
That's only because this is something that's fairly new. This is technology that we started talking about probably 2019, 2020.
Right.
And we're moving it forward. We had an idea with regards to the hydrogen house. How do we go about doing this? Sunline was one of the first transportation companies to actually use fuel cell hydrogen, which is using electric to create that hydrogen, and they use it actually to using natural gas.
Yeah.
So
that's great. Much to do. I said I'd love to see it written into the next round of AB 32. I think they update that every 10 years or something like that, every 5 years, whatever that update is. But by that time, we'll be almost past by the next deadline for the update.
that's right. I'll look and get some more information with regards to policy. I'm happy to share that with Sarah, and just to keep you abreast of some of the stuff that we're working on, but also just some of the future. of where things are going. Again, I can't answer all the challenges and all the things that Sacramento is working on.
Yeah.
I think if any of us could, that would be like a miracle. But I think that there's a lot of good things that are coming out of it as well. You know, we have to do what we can for our environment and for our climate.
Yeah. Thank
So.
you so very much. It's been extremely informative, and the challenge is so large that I don't think we can afford to throw any solutions because it is a very large challenge for us statewide, from the state to your house. It's a large challenge. So
It
thank you
is.
so
And I
very
think we
much.
just all need to do the best that we can,
Yep.
you know, with the resources that we have,
Absolutely.
to do as much as we can to go ahead and to fight climate change and reduce the amount of emissions that go into the air. But I'll look for some of the other information. Commissioner Getka provided, I think, the hardest questions.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
But I'm happy to get you more information.
What can the commission do to help your company, SoCal Gas?
You know, one of
PR?
the things that I would do is just to continue to monitor different types of policy. I would also, and it's just a matter of actually helping Californians. This isn't about SoCal Gas. I think we all are in this together, whether it's electric, whether it's gas, whether it's a new technology of batteries and lithium that's coming forward. Who knows what it looks like from here until next 5 years? Who would have thought that 5 years ago I would have been standing up here talking about other types of technology other than natural gas?
Right.
You know, so we have to, it's changing so fast, so rapidly. And it's exciting, but there's just so much. So to answer your question, you know, just stay abreast of what's going on. I will make sure I add you to my email list of all the different press releases and information that we send out, so that it'll give you a little bit more information so that you could research it and be able to ask any tough questions. Our website has so much information about various types of technologies, papers, studies, things that we've been working on. And if there's, you know, something more that I need to get a subject matter expert in here to talk to you about, I'd be happy to do that.
Is your PowerPoint available on your website, or can you?
I could send you the
provide that?
PowerPoint presentation in a PDF. That was our biggest challenge that we had. So the PowerPoint presentation that I sent to Sarah and stuff, it has all my notes in it. I would prefer just to send you
Great.
the PDF of those slides, and actually have one that actually has a lot more detail than that. And then you could read into a little bit more of that, so.
Okay,
To
thank you.
To your point, Commissioner Getka, I think the biggest thing that we can do at home is leaks. I can testify to the fact that I bought a brand new washer and dryer. First time I had nicest washer and dryer I'd ever had. But every time I passed there, I smelled this funny thing. And I called the gas company, and they did an excellent job. There was a leak there. There was a tiny leak. So that's, you know, that you went to 4%, you said, or something like that. That's where individuals can help, the community can help.
That's right. So if I could just address that, and I'm so glad you brought that up, talking about safety. There's so much that we do for safety. But I always encourage anybody, when you get a new appliance, a new gas appliance, make sure you contact the gas company, have them come out and check and just make sure that everything's connected properly. Usually the plumbers are really good, but you want to make sure, because we do it for free. You know, we do so much stuff at no cost. We don't charge people to come out to your house and do safety checks. And as we start to get closer to the winter months, I would encourage you to to change your air filters. Okay, change out those air filters. You should be doing it at least twice a year, when winter comes and when summer comes. And primarily because when you have a clean filter, your air conditioning and your heaters work more efficiently. Also, you know, make sure that you are, you know, how to save energy, how to save gas. You know, wash your clothes in cold water if you can, you know. Or if you need to wash it in warm, that's fine. But if you can wash it in cold, most of your soaps and stuff nowadays actually will really clean your clothes well. Also, use your energy in the later evening hours. I think the electric is from 4 to 9. So if you want to use it after 9, or if you want to use it earlier in the day before 4, use it when it's not peak hours. Prior to, you know, when it comes to heating season, one of the things I would actually encourage, and I'll send this information to you, have the residents sign up on what's called our advanced meter program, and it actually gives them information. Everybody has an advanced meter. It's not smart. It can't turn off your energy. You can't turn off your gas from the meter. But what it does is it reads how much gas is going through your meter. It reads it 4 times a day, and that's how our bill is actually determined by how much gas is going through your meter. But what you can do is sign up online, and it'll provide you updated information on a regular basis every day, where you could go in and see how much gas is going through your gas meter, and that would help you to be able to budget if you needed to, if you wanted to reduce the amount of gas, or if you just felt comfortable with regards to where it's at budget-wise. But typically our gas bills are usually fairly low. I know we had a peak this last December. The biggest challenge that we had there was that we are on the very end of the natural gas pipeline, you want to say. So it was a very cold October. As we went into November, it was very cold, and then we had another cold spell. We had used all of our storage in LA and all of our storage facilities. We are now having to buy the gas then on market. So that's, so what happened is that we had to make sure that we had that reliability for the gas. That hurt all of the Western gas companies on the United States. So that was our challenge, is that, we had used all of our storage. That has been corrected so that we have hopefully plenty of storage. But when you deplete it, it takes a long time for it to fill. It's just like having a battery. It takes a long time to charge. Same type of thing. So those are the things that I would actually pay attention to with that advanced meter, is that you could sign up and then get an update. You could set your threshold on how much money you want to spend a month, and it'll actually go ahead and alert you when you start to get close to that number. And then you know what your month is going to look like, and it helps you to better budget and also control the amount of gas you use.
Nice. Thank you so very much. Thanks.
Oh,
So-
I saw something too. It looks like the state has approved your request to improve or expand Aliso Canyon
Yes.
storage.
That was primarily because of just having that reliability.
Right, but that's helped reduce the pricing if you don't have to buy it in the spot market, right?
It'll help because then we're able to keep that full, because we weren't able to use all of it at the time.
That's good news.
So most people don't realize that, but having the gas as a storage sometimes does help, because then you're able to balance out, because you're able to buy it and store it. It's like having your gas tank in your car full, and then you start to see that $7 a gallon, which I see creeping up right now. I'm glad my gas tank is full, but for how long, right?
Well, you buy it at the best rate possible.
Exactly.
That's
exactly right. That's exactly the same thing as what we do.
Well, my family's a gas family. We have gas oven, range, dryer, tankless water heater. So
Good. Tankless water heaters are very efficient. So, and there's rebates for those. Okay, any
Thank
other
you.
questions?
All right. No, I mean, we'll always have questions, so we would hope for you to come back from time to time as
Yes.
we continue to send out information to the community.
Yes, and please encourage your customers or your residents to sign up on our customer assistance programs. They're based off of rate or how much money you bring in, but still a lot of people qualify. They don't think they do, but they should. And then the other thing is that you could always set yourself up on a level playing plan. So when winter comes, when the gas bills go high, it makes it easier. All right, well, thank you so much. Thank you
Thank
for all your
you.
questions. And I will get you some more information.
All right. Thanks
bombard
so
you.
very much.
Thank you.
See you next time. Thank you. Yes, finally. All right. Okay, so we are now at agenda item number 5, which is the approval of the minutes from our August meeting. And are there any comments on the meeting minutes which were attached to the full agenda packet? No? Any
Nope.
comments? Okay. If there are no comments, I am making a motion to approve and the minutes of the meeting from August 2023 as written. Does anyone second the motion?
Second?
Okay, great. The So can you take a vote on that, please, Sarah?
Sure. Chair Lou,
Approved?
Vice Chair Chris,
Aye.
Commissioner Getka,
Aye.
Alrighty. All right, the motion passes, and the minutes of the August 2025 Sustainability Commission are approved as written. Okay, that will take us on to agenda item number 6, which I believe Sarah is going to present to us. And this is on the fiscal year 23-24 work plan and outreach plan. And 6.2 is on an energy efficiency and conservation block grant program.
For the fiscal year 23-24 work plan and outreach plan, again, that will go to council on October 4th, so we'll know a little more about that in a few weeks, certainly by the next meeting. But I did want to talk a little bit. I went through the plan and I went through the outreach plan, and I thought that we had specifically written in there something for 1383. I thought it was for outreach, but when I went through all of the what we have submitted to City Council, I didn't see anything. So I just wanted to bring it up tonight that CalRecycle gives some non-competitive grants to implement SB 1383. And we have right now about $56,000 that we haven't used for edible food collection and other things. And it can be used for implementing 1383 on various things, almost anything, collection, enforcement, outreach, evaluation, all of it. But I just wanted to bring that up in case you want to give it some thought, if there's something specifically as we roll this out, as you notice anything, if something that you might want to, a project you might want to use these funds for. We have until September 2024 to use them. So there's some time for some thought, and that's all I really had for the fiscal year work plan. And Chair, we did add, I updated the agenda with a 6.2 for plugshare.com. That's a presentation that Commissioner Getka would like to give.
Thank you. So before we go to item number 6.2, on the outreach plan then, Sarah, what you're saying is you would amend it to add one area for SB 1383 outreach. Is that what you're going to do?
That is something that we could do. I'm not suggesting anything right now for that funding. I'm just letting you know that if there's a project for 1383 that you feel like you might want to consider adding to the work plan or the outreach plan, we have funding available for that.
Yeah, I mean, if we don't use it,
We'll use it. There's an opportunity now if you want to think about it, as it's rolling out and you're seeing how the plan is going. If something comes up, then certainly we can talk about it. Just let me know. It's there. But otherwise, certainly we'll come up with a way to use the funding, of course.
yeah, I think I received one letter at my house a couple of months ago about the food waste. And I think that came from the city. I can't remember whether it was City of Vertex sent it to me, but obviously you can see I'm beginning to forget about it, right? So, and these things are more top of mind for us, but I don't think other general residents will, if you're not doing this as we are here this afternoon, you're not going to remember that. You're going to try and remember to get to the gas station in time because the prices are going up. So I certainly think that anything we can do to repeat. Was that from the city, that cycle of outreach, the letters that went out?
It was from the city through Burtec. Burtec sent it out, but it had to be run through the city and approved by us. So it was a letter from the city. That was actually a CalRecycle. It was mandated that it had to come from the city. So yes, it was ours, but Burtec did send it out.
Okay, so that's my thought on the matter, because I'm forgetting it already, and if I ask somebody else, like in my household, they won't even remember it at all. unless I start posting notes on the trash cans in the house. Commissioners, any other comments on that?
I was just, on the funding we have left, what's 56,000, something like that?
That's correct.
Do we need any more of those big belly waste containers for the city? Anything like that that we need to, or could add more?
Right now, we have definitely some ordered. I don't know that the 1383 funds could be used for that. That would be for collecting food, and we don't use the big bellies for that.
Okay. Is there anything that we could do to apply to our website for more user education?
Absolutely. I'm definitely hearing outreach, and I'd be happy to take that funding and apply it to outreach if that's the direction.
We just don't want to miss out on that funding. I know we have a year to use it.
Oh, yeah.
Correct.
As I said, we will not miss out on the funding. That's
It's on you, Sarah.
All right, well, I'm sure we'll touch on outreach again when we get to agenda item number 7. Perhaps Commissioner Chris has something to say on that one. So on 6.2, if there are no further questions on the work plan and outreach plan, and if we do have, let me ask this, if we do have comments between now and October 4th, Sarah, what would be your suggestion on the work plan or outreach plan, if something does come to mind?
just email me.
Okay, all right, very good. I will try and be there on October 4th for that. And then I will turn it over to 6.2 to Commissioner Getko.
Do you want to use this, or do you want me to just, you can just tell me the forward?
Yeah, that's fine. Just a few slides, not a lot. I'll wait till Sarah gets seated. So, since I'm retired, I have a lot of time on my hands, but I was curious I was trying to find out how many EV charging locations we have here currently in the city of Indio. And also, if anybody has an EV and they're traveling, whether it's nationwide or statewide, there are several apps that you can download onto your smartphone. The one that I found that I kind of liked is called PlugShare. And what's nice about this specific format is you can really drill down by city and location. They have a drop-down menu, and right now what you're looking at is the overall screen of Indio and the charging locations that they have updated. Now, this doesn't have everything yet because I don't know what their lag time is on updating their information, but it gives you kind of an overview what's in the city of Indio and then bordering La Quinta. And then the second slide is a drop-down screen you can go to, which basically has a venue. You can filter it. You can do a trip planner. You can find out, you can drill on each location. They'll tell you what specific charging or items they have, or their type of chargers. They tell you if it's a level 1, a 2, or 3. They also, some of them give you the price that they charge for the charge. So that's very helpful. And as we go further with the EV evolution, this type of app will be very helpful for people, especially if you're traveling, from the desert to LA or any parts of California or the country. The next slide kind of shows you, again, you can drill down. In Indio, we have, according to their information, 36 superchargers available 24/7 and up to 250 kilowatts. And they give you those locations. You can drill down and get directions also to these locations if you're from out of town. So it's a very helpful app if anybody is looking for something like that. And then the next page, next slide, thanks to Sarah, she gave me some updates on newer charging locations that we're implementing here in the city of Indio. And then also the app that I use, PlugShare, gave me these other locations. So I was curious as to how many we actually have in real time in the city of Indio. So I made up this Excel spreadsheet and just put in all the data. It tells you the locations, what streets, and then how many charging receptacles they have at each location. usually the Tesla chargers are superchargers, so they would require only 25 minutes to 30 minutes to give you about an 80% charge. If you go into a level 1, level 2, they're going to take a longer time. They're probably a little less expensive, but it just depends on what you need. You can see in the locations there, we have one solar location because there was no electrical area or no electrical hookups available. So they put solar panels above the charging stations, which also provides you shade. So that's kind of a nice feature. And then Indio Sports Park is a pending location for 12 receptacles. So we have about 19 locations in Indio to date. The total number of receptacles are about 133. So that's pretty good, actually. And there's basically 3 types of chargers, as you all know. There's a level 3, which is the fastest, a level 2, and a level 1. And they all have different plugs and hookups, and those apps will tell you what type of plugs they have, what their kilowatts are, so you can determine where you want to go to get charged up. So that's kind of it on PlugShare. Any questions on that? I can give you a quick overview on the charging levels, just for an FYI. If you have a level 1 charger, charging time is about 20 hours. It'll get you about 124 miles. It's on a standard 120 volt 3-prong plug, kind of like what you have in your home perhaps. The level 2 chargers will give you about 124 miles in about 5 hours, and that's either a 3 or 4-prong plug. And then level 3 is the fastest. Typically you can get 124 miles in about 30 minutes. And that's like the Tesla type chargers that they have over in Indio Town Center. That's the last page I had on that. Any questions from anybody?
I do not have any. Commissioner
Okay.
Priest?
No, not at all.
Okay, great. Thank you so very much for sharing that information. Hopefully it should be in our minutes, so it will be available to folks in the community who might be needing this. So agenda item number 7 is just updates, roundtable updates from us. And before we give our updates, I would notice that we no longer have Commissioner Benson on as part of our group, as part of the commission. So he had water and I think IID or something like that. So I can go ahead and take over water, since for me waste is wrapping up. And does anyone want to take over IID?
Since I serve on that board, I think that would be
Okay.
perfect.
Cool.
Yes, thank you.
Alrighty. So I will let others go first. So Commissioner Chris, can you go ahead and go first, please?
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's been pretty quiet for me lately, but we had an opportunity this past Saturday to have a fundraising event for our veterans and our military and first responders here in Indio, between the Indio Rotary, Indio Police Department, the City of Indio, and Indio Water, where we went to Fantasy Lanes and literally filled the bowling alley with everything from community partners to the city agencies to corporate sponsors and private enterprise. And I just love when we have corporate enterprise and private citizens and city entities come together, because that's when we're all successful. And we were able to raise a lot of money for future endeavors for first responders, our veterans, and our police department here in Indio. So I just wanted to mention that. On the IID board, we really didn't discuss much this past meeting. But other than that, that's all that I have for this month.
Very good.
Chair Lou,
Yes.
if I could, there was one more update, 6.3,
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
the Energy Efficiency and Conservation Block Grant.
Okay,
And just very quickly, the Department of Energy has released the block grant. They are also non-competitive grants, and they're for quite a few different opportunities to clean fleets or for zero emission vehicles or studies. The city is the city's allocation is about $140,000. It's just a matter of putting in the application. It's due by January 1st, but it's a rolling application, so the sooner we get it in, they'll look at it and approve the funding. We have asked and been approved for technical guidance for two things. For one thing, CARB, the California Air Resources Board, is mandating the new clean fleets regulation, which is a push to get clean or zero emission trucks and large vehicles. Part of that are state and local governments will need to transfer their fleets to zero emission vehicles. And it has two options. By 2024, I believe it is, every new vehicle that the city purchases, 50% will have to be a zero emission vehicle, or there's another option for a percentage type of compliance where you have to hit milestones of a percentage of the fleet that is a zero emission vehicle. So what we've asked for with the block grant is to write up a technical report. We want to take a look at, we want an expert to take a look at our fleet, what we're gonna need, whether it's, what our options are, and what we're gonna need at the corporate yard to actually be able to fuel a fleet like that. And the other half of the technical assistance will be for where to put EV chargers throughout the city. So we've been talking about that a lot. It comes up a lot, and this will give us an opportunity to actually have an actual plan, an actual document. So as these more and more grant funding comes for EV charging stations or zero emission charging in general, we'll have an actual plan that we can say, this is what we're trying to fund, and I think that'll help us a lot moving forward. So we're going to be working on submitting that paperwork very soon, and those are the two projects we'll use it for.
And Sarah, if I may, with the rolling app, there's no deadline to apply. They look at it as it comes in, and once the money is dispersed, whenever that is, that's it.
I believe it's allocated. So I think that as long as you get it in before January 1st, they'll fund you. That's my understanding of it. But if you get it in earlier, you get the funding earlier. But if you go past January 1st, then the money is gone.
Okay. That is good. So that will be aimed at vehicles, at the fleet. And we're gonna hire someone essentially to develop that plan using these funds, or are we gonna use the funds on the vehicles themselves?
We'll use the funds to pay for the plan, an actual technical plan to see what we're gonna need.
Okay, very good, very good. Alrighty, so I will go back to item number 7.1 then. On the waste side, I do not have any changes since the last update that I had on True Waste. I think the communication part of it, which Sarah brought up today, is really the way to go. I think we will find some eager folks out there. We can find folks who are interested on that. And then on water, I just obviously took that over, so I have not really focused much on what's going on water, so I'll be able to provide an update the next time. But going back to outreach, I am thinking one thing that is a little bit, I'm thinking that we need to do, I'm not sure where to take this step first, is go ahead and start moving with that. I don't know if we need the city council approval in order to start working on the outreach plan, or can we just start?
We need the approval.
Okay, all right. Okay, so yeah, that's the thing that I think we should, I would encourage all of us to look at it and see which piece of it we can do, and our next meeting will be in late October, so by that time, maybe we can focus quite a bit. Once we have that approval, we can really look back and see what each of us can do with the outreach plan, because no one person can do all of it, so we have to pick our pieces, maybe, and decide from there. But, okay, so we can't do anything, and then on the water, we'll see. So Commissioner Getka?
Okay, so I had some time on my hands in the last few weeks because of the heat. Thought it was nicer to stay inside than go outside, but I was trying to research how much wind power IID is extracting or using or buying. And I called IID, but I couldn't really get an accurate answer, so I went on their website, and anybody can go do this, and they have a nice breakdown of their energy sources. This is from 2021, just as a FYI. IID right now in 2021 was getting 40% of their energy from eligible renewables versus a state average of 33.6%. So we're doing well on that. They're getting about 8.8% from biomass and bio-waste, which is higher than the state average at 2.3%. The geothermal, they're getting 12.1% versus 4.8% the state average. So we're doing well on those. Hydroelectric, we're getting 6.9% versus 1%, which is a state average. Solar is 12.3%, state average is 14.2%. So we're a little bit under that, but we're still doing well. The one thing I was curious about was wind, because we see all the windmill farms up and down the Highway 10. They're not getting anything, at least in 2021. Now, that may have changed in the last year or so, I don't know, but the state average was 11.4%, because what I was thinking about doing was doing a tour at one of the windmill farms up here. They give tours of the plants just to kind of educate. That would be a cool field trip maybe for the commission or some point. But anyway, it's a moot point at this point, and there's no need to worry about that. Coal, nothing. We're not getting anything from coal for IID power. Large hydroelectric, 4.8% versus a 9.2 state average. Natural gas is 35.6% versus 37.9%, so we're right in there. Nuclear, 3.5% versus state average at 9.3%. And then the other big category, which is really the second largest category, is unspecified power. And what that means is it's power that's actually purchased on the market, spot market. And the state average is 6.8%. So that's probably an area that I'm sure IID is looking at improving upon, because as everybody knows, if you have to go on a spot market and purchase power, you're probably paying a little more for it. So hopefully they're... Now, I did read also IID is extending a power line or some kind of a line to San Onofre nuclear plant out in Oceanside there, or San Clemente, which is interesting because supposedly within a few years, the nuclear plants are supposed to be shut down. So it'd be interesting to see what happens with that. So anyway, I just thought I would share that with the commission here. And then I did do a Zoom call, since I'm not going to travel to Sacramento, but there was a workshop on September 8th, and it was a workshop on potential growth of hydrogen. And our guest tonight really covered a lot of those areas. And they did have a speaker, Yuri Friedman from SoCal Gas, that gave a presentation on that. And it's good to see that the gas companies are looking to innovate and modernize and go to a greener type energy source, and that's good to see. Because I don't think, with our timetables in California 2045, that without a combination of different energy sources, we're not going to make that 0% green emission goal. So I think we need gas, electric, but it can't all be at one thing at this time. So another workshop I kind of zoomed in on, and I kind of went in and out of this because it was a whole day, actually a 2-day thing. I just kind of zoomed in on areas that I was interested in. This was put on by the California Public Utilities Commission. The thing was, it was a very broad and general theoretical-based discussion. They had a lot of different people, a lot of different groups in there. They did a lot of generalizations and broad-based discussions. So I was looking for a little more specific information. But there's two things that they did talk about that are going to be the coming trends. One is the establishment of large lithium battery storage facilities connected to utility substations. Now, IID already has one. I don't know if they have plans to expand on that. Beaumont has one. So there's going to be probably more of these battery storage facilities you'll see installed in the state of California as time goes on. The other major investment that California is looking at is what they call offshore wind turbines. Now, we've got onshore turbines here in the valley, but they're not as effective. The wind turbines on the coast of the East Coast are more effective, they're more efficient and reliable. They're also can be less expensive. The problem we've had in California is because of our deep water shelf off the coast of California. The water is so deep because the shelf drops off so deep. It's a challenge to put ground-based turbines into the ocean floor. So what they're looking at is looking at these offshore turbines that are going to be on floats. They're going to float, and they're going to be anchored down to the surface. They're going to be more efficient. They're also going to be more expensive. But that's something that you'll be hearing more about that from the state of California coming forward. And then the other thing they talked about this seminar was basically grid security and cyber attacks. And that's a big concern because they're already getting cyber attacks in some of our utility companies from various sources. And if you have your whole energy solution based on electric and your grid and it gets hacked or whatever, you're going to be in you're going to have some major problems. So they're looking at tightening up their cyber security at the different utility companies. So that's that. And then one other one here is, this was the Strategic Goals Built Environment Workshop, and this was on September 19th. I just took a few basic points off of that. It's incredible to see how many agencies are working together to coordinate our clean energy program here in California. You would not believe the different entities that are all involved in trying to get this all put together. It's a lot of moving parts, and that's one of the big challenges. There are a lot of interest in moving to electrification and away from natural gas pipelines, but we also are going to maintain that infrastructure for our sources. And then they talk about the future of commercial and residential all-electric buildings. So electric utilities are looking at having buildings going forward, new buildings, new homes, residential homes, new commercial buildings that are going to be strictly all electric. And again, there's pluses and minuses to that. And then also they talked about converting natural gas cooking to electric induction cooking. That's kind of what they're looking at. It's still not the same for gas. Everybody knows that. And then they're looking at creating and developing more thermoelectric networks. They call these TENs, T-E-N. So they're looking at doing that also. Last thing here is the article on offshore wind turbines. And this is going to be a big thing right now. They're looking at doing a production facility at Long Beach Port called Pier Wind. And they're looking at building a massive floating manufacturing structure to build these floating wind turbines. And then I guess they'll build them in Long Beach, and then they'll tow them up the coast and then insert them up along Morro Bay up in Northern California, where they have a lot more steady wind all the time. So that's something that we'll be hearing more about. And that's all based on Assembly Bill 80. And then they also are looking at any environmental issues with ocean-based turbines, because there's been a lot of issues out in the East Coast right now with whales. They don't know if the turbines are disrupting their their guidance system in the whales, so they have to do a complete study on any environmental issues with the offshore turbines. We already know there's some bird kill issues on land-based, but they don't know the verdict's still out on ocean-based type windmills. And that's it, all I have.
Okay. Thank you so very much. It's good to see the energy and enthusiasm in working through all these complicated issues. As you say, there's so many people from Sacramento down, all over the state working on this, and we all have our part to play. Next agenda item is staff items. Sarah, anything?
There are no staff items, thank you.
Alrighty, so if there are no staff items, then no comments, thank you. As there are no other agenda items, may I make a motion to adjourn the meeting of the Sustainability Commission for September 25th? Does anyone second the motion?
I'll second.
Alrighty, all in favor say aye.
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 Okay, hearing no objection, I now declare the meeting adjourned. The next commission meeting will be on, lost my place here, October the 23rd, 2023. Thank you very much for everyone for attending, and thank you, Sarah, for arranging all the speakers and our agenda. Thank you.